Hello, everybody. It's Michael Finkley with The Michael Finkley Show.
And I'm Nicole with Conversations with Nicole. You can join me Wednesdays at 9 a.m. on all of my streaming platforms.
Well, Nikki, don't forget about The Michael Finkley Show, Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CTR Media Network.
Join us.
What's going on, beautiful people? My name is Prince Hortboom, and I play Jacob in Fatal Seduction, and you guys are watching The Michael Finkley Show.
Are you looking for a show full of joy, comfort, and laughter? Well, watch The Michael Finkley Show, Mondays, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CTR Media Network, YouTube, and all podcast platforms. On the next Michael Finkley, Helen Noel is with us, and she talks about the importance of the Rosenwald Fund Study and her Flower Gurlz Gala happening April 26th through the 28th. Monday.
There's a new familiar face this time. Say hello to the new daytime. See it everywhere you go. New and the greatest show. It's no other than the Michael Finkley Show. There is no other. He's like no other. I'm so glad that someone resonates with me. Let's tune into
Welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now, y'all, my next guest, she is Chief Master Sergeant, retired Air Force, and founder of Talk Story Inc. She's none other than Helen Noel. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I am super, uber well, fantastic.
Okay, all of that.
All the above. All the above.
Nice.
Yes. So, Pink Fan, you probably have heard of Miss Helen over here through our segment of Community Spotlight series via the Jamal Bakes Morning Show. And I had to bring her on because she has some incredible things that she's doing. And she has an event happening in April, which I know she's definitely going to talk about as well. But I must say, to start off, thank you so much for your service. Thank you so much for your service. And happy Women's History Month. Because again, you are making history in your own way, in your own light. When did you know you had a heart for service?
Oh, it started at a very young age. You know, growing up, we've always served one another just as a family because I come from a big family. So service, taking care of one another and serving one another was always, our mantra. Blood is thicker than water was our mantra, actually. And then coming, when you're from those small towns, you kind of serve just by having those small communities. So service has always been part of me. And then I guess, eventually I joined the military to serve. So it just continues. That's my legacy, is serving.
Wow. And even after retiring, you're still serving. Mm-hmm. You're still serving. And when I definitely see that it is a part of you, right? And it's infectious. It really is, because again, the causes that you have. So let's just dive right into it. Part of your bio, as I was reading and the conversations that we've had before, there's a study that was conducted right back in 1929 that has captured your attention and now the attention of others as well. Could you talk to us about this study and how is it impacting you, especially now going forward into what you do?
Absolutely. So the study is the Rosenwald Fund Study, and it is the precursor to the Tuskegee syphilis study and the Guatemala syphilis inoculation study. And like you said, it started in 1929. It involved 6 different states in the South: Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and Georgia. The public health service during that time frame, syphilis was an epidemic worldwide, because coming off of World War I, a lot of the soldiers were returning to their home fronts with syphilis and venereal diseases. And as a result of that, the United Nations, at that time, they were the League of Nations. They conducted an investigation with 5 different countries, one of which was the United States, because they realized that on a global level, they needed to establish a standardized method for treating syphilis. And that's what they were trying to do. So prior to the League of Nations standardizing a treatment method, the United States decided that they were going to conduct their own study. So who did they conduct the study on? African Americans in the South. So pretty much what they were doing, they were using toxic heavy metals on African Americans in the South. And like I said, because it was an epidemic, this wasn't something that was just occurring in the African American race, because we know that when you think about World War I, a lot of African Americans, they were a small number that actually participated in World War I. So during that same time frame, the Public Health Service was giving preferential treatment for white syphilitic males. They were receiving federal aid for housing and travel to Hot Springs, Arkansas, to be treated specifically by the director of the venereal disease program for the Public Health Service. So syphilitic white males were given preferential treatment. White women were being discriminated against because during that time frame, they were blaming a lot of the sicknesses and the venereal disease on the white women. And African Americans were being treated with intensive and continuous heavy metals. So it established a double standard of care in America, because it was the first time that many of the African Americans in the South received what they considered to be government sponsored health care.
I love this type of history, in the sense of that when it includes us, right, the people that look like us, right, and how we didn't even have a choice in the matter of, being a part of. Why is it so important for us to know this information in 2024?
The reason why it's so important is because the heavy toxic metals that they were using on African Americans had an adverse health effect in future generations. According to the Minamata Convention on Mercury, mercury in and of itself causes adverse health effects in future generations. So the primary metal that they were using was mercury and arsenic during that time frame. And as a result of using it on all ages, all sexes, family units, and pregnant women, it was being passed on to the next generation. So the reason why I am so passionate about this is because I believe that my family was part of the study. And 9 family members from 3 generations have succumbed from symptoms that you can link back to heavy toxic metal poisoning. So even though the study occurred in 1929, the last family member that passed away from symptoms linked to this was in 2008. So when you do the math, a lot of problems and illnesses and diseases and sicknesses and pre-existing conditions that exist in African Americans could very well be traced back to this study. So it's important for us to recognize today that our families may have, different families may have been a part of this. And it's also important because we don't know enough as a people about our medical history. Just like we don't know our ancestry and where we came from, a lot of us don't understand and don't know where the illnesses and sicknesses in the family originated. So if we do the math and take some pride in learning more about this study and realizing that during that time frame, a lot of African Americans, it was during the Great Migration. So a lot of African Americans were migrating to different parts of the country, potentially with heavy toxic metal.
Wow. Just again, when I was first introduced to you, I was able to do some reading of my own. But just to hear it once more, right? It's just hard hitting. It really, really is, because again, this is now a part of our history, right?
Right.
This is now part of who we are. What has been done thus far? What type of, I guess, quote unquote noise has state officials made or even federal officials made about this study, and how is it even affecting our people today?
There has been no noise, primarily because when the Rosenwald Fund Study ended, the federal government salvaged the study in Alabama, and it became known as the infamous Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in the Negro woman, and it lasted for 40 years. Tuskegee was a part of this original Rosenwald Fund Study. But not only was the study continued in Alabama, but according to my research, the study was also continued in the state of Tennessee. Tennessee deviated from the other states and conducted the study on family units. And in my family, we had an illness. It was a hereditary illness that was affecting the family. And allegedly, it may have been rooted in syphilis. So just imagine that. The family illness and treating family units in Tennessee, my family migrated from Western Tennessee. So after the study allegedly ended the Rosenwald Fund Study, they continued the study in Alabama and in a group of Western Tennessee counties. So it's important for us to recognize and know that because, like I said, so many African Americans were migrating, they were migrating with, like I said, potentially having toxic metal poisoning, and it was being passed on. So since 2011, I've been seeking a presidential apology and investigation for this because of the simple fact historical precedents have already been set for studies conducted by the Public Health Service. In 1997, President Clinton apologized for the Tuskegee study. In 2010, President Obama apologized for the Guatemala study and initiated an investigation. It was determined that the Tuskegee study was unethical. After President Obama initiated the investigation and they investigated, they determined that the Guatemala study was ethically impossible. So my concern is, why are you giving these apologies and investigations for studies that occurred for the counterparts, but yet you failed to give the apology and investigation for the initial study that makes the Tuskegee study look like a drop in the bucket for them? And because it involved thousands, the Rosenwald Fund Study involved thousands of Blacks in 6 different states in over 10 counties. So when I sent my request to President Obama for the apology and investigation, the CDC came back and denied it on 2 claims. One, they claimed that it was not an experiment. And 2, they claimed that mercury does not have a congenital effect. I sent them back information to prove that it was definitely an experiment, but they still didn't recant it. So prior to President Obama leaving office, he was very familiar with mercury and its toxic nature because he signed a historical Mercury and Air Toxic Standards Act while he was the president. So prior to him leaving office, he sent me a letter. And he sent the letter stating that the Center for Disease Control and Health and Human Services were prepared to readdress my issue concerning mercury and its congenital effect. So I followed up with the Trump administration. The director of the Agency of Toxic Substance and Disease Registry acknowledged in writing that mercury has a congenital effect. And then he had the audacity to deny that the Rosenwald Fund Study ever existed. Despite all the information that I sent him from the Rosenwald archives, he blatantly denied that it existed. And I thought, are you serious? With that said, I continued in my fight for justice, and my request for the apology and investigation is currently with the Biden administration, and it's been with them since February of last year. So I'm waiting patiently. However, when God gives you something, when the powers that be fail to do what they're supposed to do, God will give you another angle. So he's giving me another angle to bring awareness to this study. In October of last year, I launched a movement for justice, and it's called the Family Love Matters Movement, and it's for transitional justice. Transitional justice is how societies respond to human rights violations. So let's back up a little bit. In 2015, I sent my information to the United Nations. United Nations Environmental Program determined that the Rosenwald Fund Study was a violation of civil and human rights. So I'm fighting for justice. I launched the movement, like I said, in October, and the company Talk Story Incorporated, we're hosting the Flower Gurlz Gala in April, from April 26th through the 28th in Newport News, Virginia, at the Marriott, to bring awareness to this atrocity. I have Jeff Majors, the world-renowned harpist. He's going to perform at the gala. I have a comedian, Bernard Hines, which you know very well. He's going to be performing as well, or doing what he does. And I also have Henrietta Lack's grandson, Alfred Carter, who's going to be my guest speaker on the program. So we're, like I said, we're trying to bring awareness to this. The gala is open to men and women both. And would love for people to go out to my website, www.helennoel.com, and register for the gala. You can also donate to the gala on my website, but I really want to bring awareness to this atrocity because the apology and investigation is long overdue.
Oh, wow. It's very rare that you see a person with such passion, right, about a matter, right, that affects them, but also affects the people around them, again, that look like them as well. And to go in so much links to say, I need you to say that this was wrong, right? I need you to make amends because this was wrong.
Down the fast lane. Hey y'all, I'm artist Billy Stonecipher, and you're watching The Michael Finkley Show. Like a freight train down the fast lane, we're coming.
Hello everybody, it's Finkley from the Finkley Experience. We're an educational consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. So we assist students with their college and career endeavors. We train school administrators on the state of first-generation students. And also, we partner with colleges and universities to assist their first-generation population for easy transition from high school to college. So if you're looking for a presenter or speaker that presents on these topics and so much more, visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com and learn about all that we do. We're looking forward to working with you. Looking for some of the best soul food right here in Mullen, South Carolina? I promise you, come on down to Garden Alley.
Our grape salad's fabulous, our water gate, our potato salad, our chicken is fresh, macaroni and cheese is salted to perfection. I haven't found anything that's not great. Best ever.
Banana pudding, cakes, pies. Yeah. Selection is huge. Garden Alley is an awesome place to eat. I really love it.
Come by and see the amazing staff at Garden Alley, downtown Mullins. Look like, you've already reached out to the persons in Washington. You reached out to so many different individuals. You're starting you started your organization. You have the gala that's happening next month again to just bring that awareness. What does that next level look like? Of I need to get this word out even more so for people to understand this happened, this was wrong, there needs to be some type of amendment?
I reached out to well, actually, it was a couple months ago. I reached out to Congressman Thompson, Randy Thompson, because 5 counties in the state of Mississippi was a part of this atrocity. And when you go online and you look up information, it appears as if there was only 1 county in all of the states, but it was actually 5 counties in the state of Mississippi alone. So I'm waiting patiently to hear from him because I want to go to Capitol Hill, wherever I need to go to, knock on some doors, stomp my feet, do whatever needs to be done to bring to bring awareness to this. Like I said, I launched the gala. I have a petition for the presidential apology and investigation on my website as well. And I would love for people to go to the website once again and look for the petition under the Flower Gurlz Gala. And eventually, from this particular gala, yearly, I want to establish community collaboratives in all of the different counties that was a part of this atrocity. I want to be able to take the gala to them simply because a lot of people can't travel, especially, you got all these different counties that were in the South. I want to be able to establish these community collaboratives because when the Public Health Service asked Julius Rosenwald to become, to jointly fund this project, at the time, Julius Rosenwald, let me just tell you who he was for me. He was a friend of Booker T. Washington, and someone had given him Booker T. Washington's book, Up from Slavery, and it inspired him. And as a result, Booker T. Washington started asking Rosenwald for seed money. Rosenwald started donating seed money to not only Tuskegee, but to other historically Black colleges and universities. Booker T took some of the leftover money and he spent it towards schools, because during that time frame, African Americans were attending schools in churches and primarily in homes. So he used some of that money to better the schools and the churches back then. And as a result, Rosenwald started donating more money to a lot of different schools in the South. And he built over 5,000 schools in the South. So after Booker T. Washington died, Rosenwald established the Rosenwald Fund for the betterment of mankind. And he focused on 3 areas: Black education, Black healthcare, and making healthcare available for average Americans. I want to take his same principles, Black education, Black healthcare, and making healthcare available for average Americans, and right the wrong. Because Rosenwald wasn't aware of the pervasive nature of the study when he signed up for this. So I think it's an opportunity for the betterment of mankind for us to look at this 100 years later and change the game and do something and bring some healing and restoration as a result of what was done back then. So that's pretty much what I want to do and moving forward. And eventually, maybe even build some museums at some of these historically Black colleges and universities. Because when President Clinton apologized for the Tuskegee study, they built a museum at Tuskegee University. So, we need to get what's due to us. There needs to be some sort of remedy behind all of this, because of the simple fact that it affected so many African Americans, and it's still probably affecting families today.
Exactly. I love the idea of museums, again, to continue to tell the history of, especially at HBCUs, because I'm a product of one.
Yes.
So definitely I love that idea. With your fight for justice, is this now a part of your legacy?
I guess you can say that it is, because never in a million years did I think that God was going to put this on my shoulders. However, He's done that, and the reason why I call it family love matters movement for justice is because when I was a child, I had a cousin who, the last family member who passed away, presumably from symptoms linked to this. When we used to play together as children, I made a promise to her. She used to always make me do a pinky promise to always love and take care of her, no matter what. And because she was part of the family unit study, that's where I got the concept, family love matters, because it really does. When my family suffers from generational trauma as a result of the sudden illnesses and deaths associated with our family. So just imagine my family is one of many that this may have happened to. So it makes a whole lot of sense to move forward for justice, because even with the transitional justice, it's a truth-seeking initiative. Because we need to know the truth behind this. In the same manner in which the Guatemala study was awarded an investigation, they need to investigate to determine the ramifications and how this really affected African Americans. We're sitting back today talking about a lot of the healthcare inequities. We're talking about the health disparities. We're talking about double standards of care in African Americans. Why not talk about the Rosenwald Fund Study?
Exactly. Definitely a part of the conversation.
It
right?
should be, right?
Definitely part of the conversation, especially now that we know. Because like I said, before meeting you, I knew nothing about this in its entirety. But again, the fight of justice continues. How can we learn more information about this study, and how can we help? What are ways that we can help to assist?
Like I said, I'm hosting the gala to bring awareness to it, and it's April the 26th through the 28th, Newport News, Virginia. You can go to my website to learn more information, www.helennoel, HELENNOEL.com. Sign the petition, share the information, share this Zoom, there's strength in numbers, and I'm only one person. But like I said, it didn't just affect my family. And even though people don't necessarily want to talk about this, one thing about the Rosenwald Fund Study as well, during that time, the Public Health Service used the Wasserman blood test to diagnose patients. The Wasserman blood test was prone to false positives. A lot of the illnesses and sicknesses in African Americans during that time frame had a lot to do with their diet. It didn't have to do with syphilis. Think about it. Back then, their primary diet was eating scrapple, from the pig and everything else. And the same bacteria that's found in syphilis is also found in the pig. And that's why we need to investigate to determine. A lot of these African Americans, I don't even think that they had syphilis, because when they went out to do the test, they called it the prevalence of syphilis in apparently healthy Negroes. Come on, do the math.
All I can say is thank you for bringing this to our attention and the awareness therein. So continue. Definitely, you have the platform of us now to assist in this endeavor. Definitely. So Think Fam, please support. All her information is in the description below. Definitely attending the gala as well, April 26th through the 28th in Virginia. So tickets, go down in the description below and get those tickets, Think Fam. Helen, thank you for being with us, and again, bringing light to this.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Have a blessed day.
You too. Think Fam, don't go away.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy Rosero. I am a creative director and choreographer to the stars. Make sure that you tune in to the Michael Finkley Show, because he is off the chain. I don't know if people still say that, but you need to tune in. Peace.
Hi guys, welcome to Awaken. We wanted to serve the city of Mullins. We are church owned, and we felt like a coffee shop was such a huge need in the city of Mullins. There's nowhere for people to just come, get a cup of coffee, sit with friends, maybe do some work on the laptop. And so we feel like it was a service that we could give back to the city. Well, our hope is that people will feel calm, that they'll feel welcome, that it'll be a place where they can come and just clear their mind.
We come here twice a day. That's how good their smoothies, their coffee, their lattes, frappes, delicious. I would love the atmosphere here. If I had time to come and just sit and relax, I would. It's awesome.
One thing that I really love about it being here is just the cozy environment. It's so inviting. I can come in here and I can get my schoolwork done, a good coffee and a good meal. But I'm just really thankful that they're here and that I have a good place to go.
We're open Tuesday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Awaken Coffee Bar, downtown Mullins.
What up, y'all? It's your boy Will with the exclamation, aka Yo, that's Will. Listen, y'all are tuned into the Michael Finkley Show. Stay tuned.
Me elevated, keep your love